impormasyong ito? And overall, may nakikita ba kayong national security aspect or threat sa lahat ng ito?
Thank you po, Madam Chair. On the first question po, Madam Chair, we got an information po on the alleged departure of Alice Guo from the country on August 18, Madam Chair. And however, Madam Chair, during that time, it was yet not verified by other source. And the following day, Madam Chair, that's on August 19, the good senator po made a privileged speech that indeed Alice Guo is already in Indonesia or Singapore.
So,
Madam
Senate
Chair.
pa nakapag-confirm sa NICA?
Madam Chair, sorry po.
Kumbaga, yung Senate pa ang nakapag-corroborate sa NICA sa unverified information.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Ano pong ginawa ng agency
Opo.
sa
Madam Chair,
information?
Opo. On the part of NICA po, continuous naman po ang aming coordination with other intelligence agencies. And in fact po, our Regional Intelligence Committee have already noted po that as early as July 10, wala na pong monitoring sa municipal office kay Mayor Guo. And this information po was shared to the members po of the Regional Intelligence Committee in our Regional Office 3 po, Madam Chair.
And any national security threat na nakikita kayo sa lahat ng ito?
Madam Chair, considering the fact po that Ms. Guo has been involved and charged with various criminal charges and involved in other unlawful activities, plus the fact po that her Filipino citizenship is in question, the NICA po considers this as a national security concern.
Alright.
Thank you
Salamat
po,
po,
Madam
Attorney. In question pa po ba yung Filipino citizenship niya after yung pag-match ng fingerprints ng NBI at pagkatapos din ng statements ng ibang government and constitutional bodies?
Opo. Madam Chair, actually po, we took notice po of the report that the fingerprints of Guo Huaping and Alice Guo matched po. So, meron na po tayong malinaw siguro na sagot po doon, Madam Chair.
So, hindi lang po in question yung Filipino citizenship, pero proven na hindi totoo.
Yes po, Madam Chair.
Alright. Salamat po, Attorney Acudili.
Thank you po, Madam
And
Chair.
lastly po sa DOJ, will it be Attorney Gatdula to answer this last question for the department? Salamat, sir. Lastly po, pag-iisahin ko na lang, meron po bang update sa investigasyon kung sino-sino nga ang tumulong kina Alice Guo na tumakas? What about Wesley Guo? And lastly po, anong posisyon ng executive dun sa reported na swap request ng Indonesian government?
Yes, Madam Chair, good afternoon. Regarding sa investigation as to who helped the Guos, right now po, we're still waiting for the results from the NBI and PAOK. But with regard to the request for possibly prisoner exchange, we have an existing treaty with Indonesia. We could accommodate such requests if formally made. But right now, no such request has been done by Indonesia. So still, these are unverified reports pa po.
All right. Salamat for the update. Lastly, yung kay Wesley Guo, may any sighting? Siya na lang yung huling pinaghahanap pa?
Yes, Madam Sen. Actually, we're still waiting for
NBI
information from PAOK and NBI, Madam Sen.
All right. Salamat,
Thank you
Attorney.
po.
Salamat, Attorney. So, before the Chair ends my questioning and turns over, first of all, to Senator JV, I wish to share that the executive session has surfaced a clear link to Mayor Kalugay of Sual, Pangasinan. Kaya I really hope that the good mayor will make himself available when he is called. Wag po sanang bigla kayong umalis sa bansa, Mayor. All right. So now...
And having said
yes,
that, Madam
Sen.
Chair,
Joel.
please forgive me for reiterating this plea and appeal to all our government authorities. Napakasakit po isipin na ang isang fugitive sa Pilipinas, mahuhuli lamang pag lumabas ng bansa dahil napakadali lumabas ng bansa. Let it be a lesson to our PNP, Coast Guards, Bureau of Immigration, at iba pang mga government agencies, because this is not something we should all be proud of. Nakakahiya po tayo. Sampal po sa ating lahat ito. And binabanggit ngayon ni Sen. Risa, marami na ho kaming nakukuhang impormasyon, ang committee na ito, ang Senado, and ayaw naman namin na ma-delay na naman dahil makakaalis na naman ng bansa easily at sasabihin na naman na hindi alam na sila ay mga persons of interest. Salamat ho, Madam Chair.
Salamat, Sen. Joel. So the Chair now recognizes Sen. JV for his questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Anyway, we received information, the Secretariat, that yung mga taga-PAOK, they're attending the budget hearing in the other house. Baka nakalimutan nila, may budget hearing din tayo next week ng Office of the President, which usually, Madam Chair, as of courtesy, breezes through. But this time I am thinking, considering to ask that the PAOK's budget be deferred, because this is a clear disrespect to this committee, di ba? It's very important. This is a very important investigation, and sila po yung nasa one of the primary agencies that is really active here. And likewise, Madam Chair, next week, no, OP budget, so if they do not show up before 5, I might move that their budget be deferred. Yung OP, papasa po natin, that's attached agencies. Because ang worry ko lang po dito, Madam Chair, like you, I have doubts on the narration of Ms. Sheila Guo and the PAOK's narrative, yung pong naginamit po nila yung through boats, no? Small boat, fishing boat, hanggang papunta po ng Sabah. And then that's why I would like to ask NBI later on, kahit po konti, no? Kahit hindi po tapos, yung pong kanina pong initial investigation.
Madam Chair, with the indulgence of my good friend, Senator JV, can
Sen.
I just make a parliamentary inquiry as to the whereabouts of PAOK? You mean to say, Madam Chair, there is no representative here from PAOK? That is unbelievable. I mean, that is really unbelievable. In a budget hearing, lahat sila pupunta doon at wala ni isa ipadadala to represent PAOK here in the Senate?
Salamat, Sen. Joel. And with the further indulgence of Sen. JV, I wish to make of record, sulat po for the Executive Director ng PAOK, na si Director Winston John Romero Casio, their letter dated September 5, so ngayong araw, hoping that it will be acceptable to the subcommittee. Dear Honorable Ontiveros, peace be unto you. On behalf of the Executive Director, Undersecretary Gilbert D.C. Cruz, allow me to convey our inability to attend the legislative public hearing of your esteemed committee due to an equally pressing matter that we need to address as a result of a recent rescue operation in Lapu-Lapu City. Due to the limited number of personnel detailed and assigned to the commission, the two directors privy to the anti-scam hub operations are currently unavailable. We would make ourselves available in the next public hearing on this matter. Be assured of our continuing commitment to public service. Allow me to convey our gratitude in advance. And additionally, at this point, Sen. Joel, in relation to the manifestation made earlier by Sen. JV, very well noted po ng Chair, the matter in relation to yung upcoming budget hearing ng PAOK. We will make efforts. The Chair requests the COMSEC to ask PAOK if it is really physically impossible for them to come back today from Lapu-Lapu City. Perhaps at least one of the two directors could be available online. Salamat,
Thank
Sen.
you,
Joel and Sen.
Madam
JV.
Chair. It's just that I wanted to put this on record, Madam Chair, that not a single person would represent PAOK in this very important investigation. We don't have a session today because of this hearing. We were supposed to have a Thursday session. It's raining outside, flooded all over. We are all here working. But PAOK doesn't have any representative, not one, who would be able to represent PAOK for the Senate. I'm warning all of the government agencies. Baka hindi nyo alam kung anong Senado. And it's a sign of disrespect, I have to say. And I joined the gentleman from San Juan for the deferral of their budget, Madam Chair. If I am not accepting the letter that was sent today, Madam Chair, today, that no one, not a single person would represent PAOK in this investigation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Sen Joel. Not one of the two directors, but it's only fair for the subcommittee to insist that someone from the PAOK be present and or at least one of the two directors online from Lapu-Lapu City. Sen JV, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Anyway, magandang hapon, Sheila. No? Huwag kang mag-alala, hindi po ako mainit, kaya sana isagutin mo ako ng tama at maayos. Kasi marami rin yung kilalang Go na makilala kong Go kasi alam lahat eh. Ikaw lahat, hindi mo alam. Hopefully this time, tatanungin ko lang, gusto ko lang liwanagin, no? Yung pong salaysay. So nagsimula yung salaysay nung sinundo kayo sa farm, sa Bamban, bumiyahe ng 4-5 oras, tama, no? Tapos sumakay sa Porto, tapos sumakay na small boat. Ang tanong ko lang po kasi ang sabi ng PAOK, parang pareho sa istorya mo, sumakay ng Porto, doon po, nasabit nga. Kasi po, Madam Chair, that's why I'm also concerned. Napunta rin po ko sa Emon Polo, no? Kilala ko po rin si Mr. Raymond Ronquillo. And yung pong access doon, siguro tanong ko lang si Raymond Ronquillo, ang access ba sa Emon Polo ay meron bang land access doon? O paano ba ang pagpunta sa Emon Polo?
Mr. Ronquillo.
Good afternoon po, Mr. Chair. Ang Emon Pulo po, you have to ride the boat. Wala po kaming, Mr. Chair, ng land access. So, if you're coming from SBMA or Pundakit, yun po ang access po natin papunta pong Emon Pulo via boat. Pag po nagta-travel po kayo ng mga 30 to 35 knots, siguro po abutin po tayo ng mga 35 to 40 minutes po ang biyahe from either SBMA or Pundakit po, Mr. Chair.
So, ang access to Emon Polo is through boat or chopper? Kasi ang sabi nyo, si Alice Guo kanina, by chopper silang pumunta ron. Dalawa lamang, walang land access.
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Ang worry ko lang, Madam Chair, that's why I wanted PAOK to be here, because ang kanila pang istorya ay sa Emon Polo, sumakay. In fact, sabi ni Mr. Casio noon, nakikinig po ako sa inyo eh, kaya nga hindi na ako nag-attend sa hearing. With the able stewardship of the chair and si Sen Joel, maayos na eh. Kaya lang, nabahala ako sa statement ni Mr. Casio ng PAO na sabi na galing sa Emon Polo, in fact, nagpunta ang kanilang agents doon, at meron yatang record, no, si Mr. Ronquillo, na nagpunta ang PAOK doon, August 2. Diba? Tama ba?
Yes po, Mr. Chair. August 2 po sila nagpunta.
At ang sabi ni Mr. Casio, 1 hour and a half lang, ay hindi nakaalis na si Mayor Alice Guo at hindi nila inabutan. Yun ang kanyang salaysay. Pero ang tanong ko lang, siguro sa PNP can confirm, Mr. Ronquillo earlier said that August 1, dahil nga sa duda, sinamahan po niya ang regional, kung sinong official ng PNP from Region 3, pumunta po ng Emon Polo to make an inspection. Sino pa pwede sa PNP?
General Salvador.
General?
Yes po, based on the report from the Directorate for Intelligence, may validation pong ginawa doon. At based doon nga po sa regulations nila na talagang based na rin doon sa statement po ni Mr. Ronquillo.
So sumama po talaga, General Salvador. May opisyal ng Region 3 that went to Emon Polo, kasama po si Raymond Ronquillo.
Yes po, meron po.
August 1, no?
August 1
That was
po.
August 1. And then PAOK went August 2. ang ano ko lang doon, tapos ang sinabi ni Mr. Casio, 1 hour and a half lang, umalis na po, no? Na late bow sila. Nandun na po ang PNP na August 1, hindi ba sila nakipag-coordinate sa'yo na hindi nila alam na nagkaroon na kayo ng inspection? Nag-coordinate ba ang PAOK sa PNP?
Wala pong report ang PRO3 as to the coordination po nung PAOK po.
Okay, salamat po. Siguro matanong ko lang din ang Coast Guard. Coast Guard. Ang Coast Guard, sa meron ba tayong monitoring? Is there a monitoring ng mga barko na dumadaan sa atin, no? Fishing vessels, anyway, yung big, alam na natin yung mga maliliit na mga sea vessels, no? Mga speedboats, hindi na natin inaano yan eh. Pero yung mga bigger ships, no? Don't we have a way to monitor? Ang pagkakaalam ko, ay meron tayong automatic identification system, tama ho ba? Sa bawat vessels ay required para alam nyo po ang registration, alam nyo po kung saan itong bansa na nakarehistro, etc. Yung information. Sige po.
Vice Admiral.
Vice Admiral.
Vice Admiral Punsalan.
Po. Thank you, Madam Chair, Your Honor. Doon po sa automatic identification system, meron pong regulation na ang certain ships, particularly 500 gross tons for 300 gross tons for passengers above, tsaka 500 gross tons above for cargo, kinakailangan po meron silang AIS transponder at nag-emit po ito ng signal. Ang Coast Guard po, among other agencies, may capability rin po to track this. We have sea vision systems bilang halimbawa para makita at ma-monitor po natin ito.
So, during those times, no, yung kasi ang salaysay po ni Michelle Go, sila po yung sumakay ng malaking vessel, no, ang papuntang Sabah. Wala bang kahina-hinala or suspicious na movement or any record of whatsoever na meron ho talagang from galing Zambales, pumunta ng Mindanao hanggang po sa Sabah?
Coincidentally po, right after the hearing, nag-initiate po yung mga units po natin to determine and backtrack on the movement of ships. If I'm not mistaken, there were 5 merchant ships. Ito po yung mga cargo vessels po na malalaki with very high freeboards na monitor po natin, and we have records for that, and we can submit to this August body, to the committee, just to manifest that we have such a capability to track. But this type of vessel, we are still uncertain with the type of the big boat. The big boat po. Kaya nga po, we also wish that we can get answers to mga katanungan kung ano yung experiences during the transferring, if indeed the allegations are true, Madam Chair.
Anyway, submit to the committee. At least we have that way, Madam Chair, to verify through the AIS, meron pa tayong capability to track the movements and the routes of the different vessels that traverse the country. So, paki-submit na lang po sa committee.
Please do that, Vice Admiral. And JV colleagues, PAOK Director Casio is available and online now for any questions from the subcommittee. Please proceed, JV.
Miss Sheila Go, siguro habang inaantay natin si Mr. Casio mag-online, siguro pwede niyong nakikinig naman po ako doon sa inyong mga salaysay. Anyway, gusto ko lang siguro malaman, yung pong sinakyan niyo ba vessel, fishing boat o merchant ship, yung malaking barko yung hanggang umabot ng hanggang Sabah, ano paki-describe lang po?
Sorry po, hindi ko intindi po.
Anong itsura nung barko na inyong sinakyan papunta po ng Sabah? Yung malaking...
Yung malaki po.
Malaki, no?
Oo.
O ano ba siya, pang-isla?
Ang una akit ko kasi, hindi ko sure kung yung kulay kung silver o gray. May nakita ko yung panghuli na fish, yung maliit lang na doon sa gilid. Then, diretso na kami pasok sa ilalim na may isang kwarto. Yun lang.
So, ano siya, parang fishing vessel.
Hindi
Pang-isda,
ko masabi, hindi ko
panghuli.
masabi kung ano yung...
Hindi, kasi ang ano ko lang dito, Madam Chair, siyempre, kayo po nila Mayor Alice Guo, kung sanay sa komportableng buhay, no, hindi naman kayo mahirap. Ang pagkakaalam ko sa mga fishing vessels, talagang ano yan, no, hindi yan komportable. No, kung meron man kwartong kapitan, maliit siguro. At ano po ang itsura niya? Merong mga madumi ba, maayos, maganda? Anong anong larawan?
Tama lang po, hindi siya malumi, hindi din siya malinis.
Pero yung
Tapos,
inyong
wala po siya lahat.
hindi siya madumi, hindi rin malinis.
Oh, yun tama lang po.
Okay, tama lang.
Sa tingin ko, tama lang po.
Okay, yung pong kwarto, isang kwarto lang kayo lahat.
Opo.
Kayo lahat kasya
Opo.
doon.
Opo.
Okay. So yung kasi po ngayon ay Madam Chair, this is habagat season, no? Very choppy yung waters. So kaya nga nagdududa rin ako paano aabot ng unless talagang trawler ito para umabot ng Sabah. Kamusta po ang biyahe nyo?
Hindi
Maalon
po.
ba?
Oo, maalon po.
Maalon. Hindi nahilo kayo?
Oo, nahihilo ako sa dagat.
Okay, so hanggang saan kayo umabot? Doon sa Sabah na, no? Tama? Doon lang yung
Hindi ko
base
alam
sa iyong
kung saan.
salaysay?
Basta pagdating kami, maliit ang yung pool. Pagdating kami doon, sempen na ang alam ko.
Lumipat pa kayo ng maliit na boat ulit.
Oo,
No?
oo.
Yun ang dumaong. Si Mr. Casio, nandyan ba? Is he online?
Director
Director
Casio,
Casio.
pakibuksan yung video nyo para makita kayo ni Sen JV at naming lahat.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Mobile lang po.
Ay, Director
Good afternoon,
Casio,
Director.
thank you for this effort because I really wanted to ask you because like the chair, even the DOJ Secretary, meron po kaming duda doon sa inyong salaysay na nanggaling po sa Zambales, sumakay ng boat, no? Kayo yung sa PAOK, yung sa NBI at DOJ po galing sa South. So ano ba, do you still stand by your narrative na yung pong sa investigation na sumakay po ng isang porto bandang Zambales papunta po ng Sabah?
Magandang hapon po, Mr. Chair, Honorable Ercito. During the last public hearing po ng subcommittee, we already recanted, so to speak, our information because we received the information initially, Mr. Chair, July 14, that apparently a report from assets within the resorts intimated to us that a person in the likeness of Ms. Guo supposedly arrived in Emon Polo on July 14 po. Then, pinabalidate po namin iyon and then our asset continued to hold on to the assertion na nandun pa po siya talaga sa lugar na iyon. Kaya lang, tama po, the operation was the mission order was implemented by the Bureau of Immigration and some elements from the armed forces with the coordination of PAOK on August 2 na po. No? So a few weeks after the supposed sighting. Then during the last hearing, it was made public yung timeline ng mga events that supposedly point to the
Director Caso, pwede kaya kayong tumabi sa yung sasakyan nyo na hindi mobile para stable ang signal?
Siguro while waiting, Madam Chair,
Yes,
for
please
Director
proceed.
Casio.
Through the questionable tool to state
Director Casio,
mali nga
siguro,
po yung aming natapos minsan.
Ang ano ko lang, Madam Chair, Director Casio, siguro tumabi muna kayo, no?
Ma'am, sige lang po.
Ayan,
Hanap po
okay
kami ng paparkingan.
Sige
Park
po.
muna
Okay,
tayo.
salamat, Director.
Ayan, okay naman eh. Director Casio,
Ito,
okay
Sen.
na kayo?
JV.
Mukhang park pa. Anyway,
Naghanap
siguro
ng party.
sa NBI or DOJ can answer. The DOJ Secretary Remulla, doubts no the story of
Park, sir.
Alice Go, Sheila Go, yung
Yes, sir.
pong
Nakapark po kami.
nakapark na kayo, Director Casio?
Sige, Director Casio, pakiayusin muna yung connection nyo and then come
We'll go
back
back to you.
online. Opo.
Sige, anybody from NBI? Siguro. Si NBI, Attorney Jerome Bomediano. I know that, as you mentioned earlier, nagtanong si Madam Chair, you are still in the process of completing your investigation. Pero initially, even the DOJ Secretary said he doubted yung pong istorya na ang galing po ng Norte. Ang sa kanila po, ang tingin nyo po ay galing sa southern backdoor to the south. No? Do you confirm this, Attorney?
During the last
Bomediano?
hearing, Madam Chair, Your Honor, our director mentioned that may info nga na sa South tumaan. So, that's why we are validating all this information na nakuha namin. Tapos, nag-coordinate na rin kami sa lahat ng foreign counterparts natin para ma-establish talaga natin kung paano siya lumabas dito sa bansa.
So sa NBI mas kayo sa southern backdoor and DOJ initially. Kahit initial lang, hindi naman kailangan. I know that you are still collating your investigation.
Yes, Your Honor. Initial information, Your Honor.
Initial. Madam Chair, that's why I ask kasi conflicting daw yung PAOK, parang they are yung narrative parang pareho kay Sheila Go to the yung boat story yung sa gusto natin malaman sa NBI naman DOJ through the southern backdoor through probably a private plane. We want to find out in this investigation kung ano talaga because we want also that those involved and those who help or were instrumental in this case, especially those government officials, if ever owners of private planes or boats, they have to be charged accordingly for being instruments in this crime, no? And nakaka-insulto na ho ito eh. Ilang beses na ho tayo, Madam Chair, natakasan ng mga kriminal, no? Hindi natin mahul dito, ibang bansa doon nahuhuli. So that's the reason why I ask sana PAOK and the NBI which is which, no? Sana malaman natin because we do not want to muddle the issue mamaya because of this confusion. Kaya nga medyo na inamin naman po kanina ni Director Casio na nag-recant siya. Pero the truth of the matter, nilabas niya na yung istorya. So, namamadel, natatakpan natin yung katotohanan. And in the process, baka mamaya yung mga talagang perpetrators, those who aided Alice Guo, Sheila Guo, and company, will go unscathed, no? So, that's the last thing we want. We want to bring to justice not only the Go sisters, but those who aided para hindi na ho ito mangyari, Madam Chair, in the future. And serve as a lesson that government officials or whoever who aid in trying to cover up for or to escape, no, for criminals, talagang dapat managot din po, no, in this in what is happening. Nakakalungkot po talaga no, na talaga imposibleng wala hong tumulong sa kanila, and that's what we want to find out in this investigation. So si Director Casio, is he online already?
Director Casio? Offline pa rin po siya, Sen JV. When he comes back online.
Yes, Madam
ituloy
Chair.
yung tanong sa
Probably we'll
kanila.
just wait when he is available already online. O kaya pagbalik na lang po niya. Physically.
And Sen JV, humihingi na lang ang PAOK ng 10 minutes para makapasok sa office and maayos yung kanilang connection for further questions.
I'll just wait, Madam Chair.
All right.
Probably Sen Win and Sen Joel can go
All
ahead.
right. Salamat, Sen JV. So, to continue in a bit. So, for now, Sen Sherwin, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Umpisahan ko po sa AMLAC. And I congratulate AMLAC for already filing the case. Alam ko matagal na natin pinag-uusapan dito yan. And in the case of Bamban, ipinakita natin, I'll show it again, no? Pinakita natin na napakalaking perang pumasok sa ating sistema na hindi natin nakikita. I'll show yung estimate namin. Yung building cost, Carla. So, tinignan natin yung financial statements ang lahat ng Guo-related family businesses. Tinignan natin lahat ng kanilang mga tax returns, pero hindi natin mahanap-hanap kung paano nakapasok ganito kalaking pera, no, dito sa ating bansa. Wala pa, Carla? Yan. So, hindi yan. Yung sa dulo na. Yung pinaka-last. There. Yan. So, itong structure na ito, no, at a very conservative cost, will cost around 6.1 billion pesos. No? Itinayo ito ng wala rin tayong kamalay-malay. Hindi natin alam kung sino yung contractor, hindi natin alam kung sino yung manpower services, hindi natin alam kung sino yung nag-supply ng heavy equipment. At nakita naman natin sa picture na ito ay tawag nga nila BGC of Bamban, no? Dahil nga sa laki nung pagko-construct nitong building. Ngayon, humingi kami ng tulong sa AMLAC para malaman natin kung paano nakapasok itong pera, sino nagdala ng pera dito, at saan pumunta yung pera. At nalaman namin na last week na nag-file na ng kaso ang AMLAC. So we want to get an update. Dahil for me, para sa akin, ito ay classic money laundering activity. No? Dahil hindi natin ma-detect kung sino ang nagdadala dito nitong pera na ito. So gusto namin malaman ngayon ano yung findings ninyo sa kaso at alam na ba natin yung source nitong itong pera at kung paano, kung sino yung mga binayaran nila, no, para maipatayo ito. Dahil naniniwala ako yung contractor, dito lang yan eh. No? So gusto namin malaman, Attorney Arpon, ano yung mga findings niyo tungkol dito?
Attorney.
Yes, ma'am. Your Honor, good afternoon. Last Friday, we have filed a man laundering complaint together with the NBI and PAOK. The basis of the money laundering complaint we filed, Your Honor, were the expenses of Baofu, which were paid by entities owned or affiliated with Alice Guo, Your Honor. And we have further determined that it was Alice Guo herself who funded the expenses paid by the Guo companies, Your Honor. So that was the findings we had and the basis of the money laundering complaint. Now, Your Honor, the investigation in this case is still ongoing, Your Honor, considering the magnitude of this case. But if I may say, Your Honor, similar to the one that we filed last Friday, what we have mentioned, what we have noticed rather, was that the transactions of the subjects in this case were all cash intensive. It was just mainly cash deposits, Your Honor. So that is another challenge for us. And again, Your Honor, we are still conducting our investigation.
So how much, magkano yung magkano yung deposits lumalabas sa lahat?
Your Honor, what we have filed thus far last Friday is just, as I mentioned, the expenses that were shouldered by Alice Guo, Your Honor. And I may not be at liberty, Your Honor, to discuss all the transactions of all the subjects, Your Honor. My apologies.
You mentioned ang subject ng case is only the transactions?
Yes, because that would constitute a clear case of money laundering already, Your Honor. We don't have to determine the entirety of all the transactions because a charge for money laundering is based on the transactions.
Transactions that came in?
For the Friday, the one we filed last Friday, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and ito yung pumasok sa kanyang account. Saan pumasok yung account? Saan pumasok yung pera?
It was, what we have traced, Your Honor, was that The expenses were paid by QJJ Farm and QC Genetics, Your Honor. It is for the periods from 2020 to 2024. Further investigation revealed that the money or the person who funded the payment by QJJ Farm and QC Genetics was Miss Alice Guo.
What are these expenses?
It's for the electricity expenses, Your Honor.
These are
Tarelco.
these are for electricity expenses.
Yes, Your Honor. At the time when Alice Guo already mentioned that she has already divested from Baofu, Your Honor.
Okay. But how much is, magkano yung pumasok? No? I don't think it will be that significant kasi expenses lang to.
Your Honor,
How much yung pumasok? How much is that?
for the account of Alice Guo, Your Honor.
For the account of Alice Guo.
Your Honor, under Section 8A of the AMLA, I would be glad to discuss that, Your Honor, in executive session.
If I may, Madam Chair, with the indulgence of
Yes, go ahead.
Senator
Sen. Joel.
I think this is a public record because I think the senator, our good friend Senator Win, is only asking about the case. And in the case, the 87 counts of money laundering was based on the 7 billion worth of transactions. Is that a correct statement, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. For the 7 billion, it's the estimation on the cost of putting up the building, I guess, Your Honor.
So it did not. It is not the basis for. It's not the basis na maging 87 counts. Yung counts ng money laundering case na final ng AMLA kila Alice Guo.
If I may clarify, Your Honor, the basis of the 87, I think it's 92 to be exact, was the expenses that were shouldered by Go entities, Your Honor. So it has nothing to do with the structure, Your Honor. Not yet. We are not at that point yet, Your Honor, because we are still continuing our investigation.
Thank you, Sen. Joel. Attorney, please continue to address the questions
sorry,
of Sen.
I'm sorry.
Chairman. No, there's no problem. I just wish to say that please answer as far as you can in open hearing dito sa very pertinent questions ni Sen. Chairman. Sen. Chairman.
We do, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. So sa ngayon, what you're saying is basically, may pumasok na pera at ginamit to, pumasok na pera sa mga Guo family businesses,
Yes.
at ginamit yan para sa Baofu sa pagbayad ng expenses.
Yes,
Correct?
Your Honor.
Essentially, yun yung sinasabi mo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Correct.
Insofar as the
Attorney.
complaint filed last Friday,
Okay.
yes.
But what we want is to understand itong 6.1 billion pesos. Because in Tarelco is pangbayad lang ng kuryente yan eh. No? But we want to understand the bigger amount, which is paano nila napatayo itong building na ito. Diba? And we've been talking about this since day one. No? In fact, itong slide na pinakita namin, this was also shown during the second hearing. So that's what we want to understand from AMLAC. I know the expenses is only a small part. I read the complaint. Maliit na amount lang yan. It doesn't even run into billions. No? But this is the bigger crime. No? Putting up a building that we don't know how the money came in. Yun ang aking punto. And I'll show that the same phenomena in Porac. No? So ang punto ko, nalalampasan tayo ng money launderers na hindi natin alam. So I want to understand from AMLAC how this big of amount came in, saan dumaan siya, at sino yung mga binayaran nitong mga perang pumasok.
Your Honor, what I can disclose at this point, Your Honor, considering that the bank accounts of Guo, some of the bank accounts were mentioned in the money laundering complaint that we filed last Friday, I can discuss up to that point, Your Honor. It's no longer covered by the confidentiality under Section 8A of the AMLA and Republic Act 1405. Now, for the accounts that we have examined that were used in committing money laundering in relation to what we have filed, we have observed that the transactions, as I mentioned earlier, they're all cash intensive, cash deposits amounting to millions, which is very unusual. If you are a legitimate business person, you won't transact in cash. What further fuels the suspicion, Your Honor, is that the possible source of income of Alice Guo, it is not commensurate with the declared source of income of Alice Guo, Your Honor.
So, saan nanggaling yung cash deposits?
Your Honor, in money laundering investigation, cash transactions really pose a challenge for us, Your Honor, because we have to determine who are the possible cohorts or those in cahoots with the person so that we can cross-match the transactions.
So all of this, okay, we're talking about the expenses or we're talking about this building?
I'm referring to the transactions that we have observed in the account of Alice Guo, Your Honor.
Okay. And all of those came in the form of cash. Cash ang deposit. Lahat puro cash siya.
A majority, Your Honor, amounting to hundreds of millions, Your Honor, including the QJJ farm, Your Honor, the declared source of income, even the paid-up capital, would not support the transactions,
Correct.
the hundreds of millions in
That's right.
transactions.
We saw that. We
Yes.
demonstrated that. I'll show the financial statements. It's we demonstrated that. Ang tanong nga namin is how much ang pumasok. That's what we want to understand.
For the account...
For everything.
Again, Your Honor, I may not be at liberty to discuss all of the
Kailan nyo ba
accounts.
pwedeng sabihin? Because we've been talking about this for 3 months running already. No? And we need to understand, the public needs to understand kung bakit may money laundering. Because yung money laundering, kailangan rin natin may paliwanag yan sa taong bayan. Dahil yan rin yung pinakamalaking krimen dito. Yan yung isa sa pinakamalaking krimen dito sa nangyayari ngayon. So kailan ba namin pwedeng malaman? Kasi I remember during the hearing, we were made to understand, and we respected that once the cases are filed, and it forms part of public document, then pwede na natin pag-usapan dito yung mga detalye. So that the public will understand what government is doing in order to go after people who launder and also prevent this from happening again.
Your Honor, if I may respectfully submit, Your Honor, while we admit that we have already filed a case before the Court of Appeals, which covers all the accounts of Alice Guo, we respectfully submit, Your Honor, that this is still covered by the confidentiality provided under the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Your Honor, specifically Section 8A of the law. So our hands are real.
Up to when can we disclose this to the public?
Your Honor, we were given up to 6 months for the freeze, Your Honor. The rationale behind that, for that 6-month period, is to give the AMLA the opportunity to investigate the account for that time period, because after that, the freeze will be ipso facto lifted. So before that period lapses, in this case, January, we have to file a civil forfeiture, which will cover all of the accounts of Mayor Alice Guo and the other persons mentioned in the freeze order, Your Honor.
Includes not only the expenses, because
No,
alam
yes,
ko yung
yes.
sinasabi nyo yung expenses lang. Ang gusto namin itong mas malaking
The totality, Your Honor.
the totality.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, then when do we expect a final result of that investigation in totality?
Your Honor, as I've earlier mentioned, the rationale for giving us 6 months, Your Honor, is for us to complete our investigation within that period, also in 6 months.
We
But
understand that.
we are mindful of the urgency of this case, Your Honor. Our financial investigators are working overtime, even beyond office hours, and even during weekends, Your Honor. We intend to complete our investigation this September, Your Honor. So probably by October, Your Honor, we'll be filing a civil forfeiture case by October, Your Honor.
And if I may, Sen. Sherwin, so by the first week of October, pwede nyo na rin po kaming bigyan ng report about the magnitudes of the amounts involved. Hindi lamang dun sa pag-cover ng utilities, pero yung construction ng Baofu compound?
Around that time, Your Honor.
Also, this is only in the case of Bamban. Di pa natin pa nag-uusapan ng
Yes, Your
Porac,
Honor.
ha? Yung Porac, ganyan rin ang, based on our research, ganyan rin ang nangyayari. So the bigger picture here, actually, the bigger crime is money laundering.
Yes, Your Honor, that I completely agree. If I may add, we have observed the same financial behavior in the Pora case, the persons composing that POGO hub, Your
Correct.
Honor.
Yeah.
In establishing money laundering, Your Honor, we have to prove certain elements. I think everybody's in agreement. Offhand, the money came from illegal source. But if we file a money laundering case, we have to establish elements of the crime. We have to connect it to the existence of an unlawful activity. And that unlawful activity must have proceeds. Our subjects must have knowledge when they transacted the original proceeds and the transactions. So these are the elements, Your Honor, please, that we need to establish in our investigation.
Isn't the concept of the income is not commensurate to the deposit? It's already a criminal aspect.
In this jurisdiction, no, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Paano siya nagkakaroon ng pera na wala siyang pinagkukunan?
That is when the existence of the predicate must be established, Your Honor. So actually, that's the first requirement. We have to establish the existence of a predicate offense. In fact, Your Honor, what were filed was cases of qualified trafficking in persons. But our theory is that it cannot degenerate this money. The only plausible explanation was that it was from the scamming activities that they have committed. So notwithstanding the absence of such crime being filed in Philippine courts or in DOJ, Your Honor, we opted to use that as a predicate offense.
We understand. And in the case of Porac, how far are we in the investigation?
If I may, before you answer, Attorney, if I may, Sen. Sherwin, also make off record na the Chair appreciates also this line of questioning equally, if not more, for our ongoing investigation in the Committee on Women. So, salamat. Just for the record.
We have a twin investigation on Bamban and Porac. So, how far are we in investigating the Porac money laundering angle?
For the Pora case, Your Honor, the investigation report on the forfeiture of the Whirlwind, where the Whirlwind is located, was already submitted. It's already being reviewed by the bosses, Your Honor. For the bank inquiry and freeze order, in fact, I was just reviewing this morning. We'll finish it by not later than tomorrow, Your Honor. So we're looking at next week that the cases will be filed for bank inquiry and freeze order.
You can share that through an executive session.
Yes, Your Honor, just like in the Bamban case, Your Honor.
Okay, and then we will request the good chairperson to invite you for an executive session so we can understand that.
We will do that, Sen. Sherwin.
Thank you. So ganito na lang. The timetable is mid-September to October in terms of the Bamban finalization of investigation. Tama ba, Attorney? October.
Please, Your
Tumawad ka pa. No? October. First week of October.
Maybe second week would be more realistic.
Humaba na. Yeah. So let's put it at second week of October. No? And like I said, no, it's important for the public. It's not only for the consumption of the committee, but important din sa publiko at malaman din ng ibang international organizations na yung ganitong pera pumapasok sa atin, because this forms part of what we call the transnational criminal activities. No? So hindi lang natin kausap ito sarili natin, kundi kausap rin natin mga ibang bansa. No? Dahil yung pera pumapasok galing sa iba. No? So importante rin na nalalaman ng mga counterparts natin na may perang gumagalaw at pumapasok, lumalabas, pumupunta sa ibang lugar. No? So ayun ang aking punto. na importante rin na nalalaman nila na mayroong ganitong kalaking pera. No, hindi ito hundreds of millions but billions. In fact, in PORAC, it's almost equal amount. No? Billions rin ang pumapasok. But I'll leave it at that and I'll wait for Ms. Cassandra when she joins us here to discuss all of those matters. So by second week of October, pwede na natin pag-usapan dito yan sa committee.
Yes, Your Honor. Surely, this October we'll finish our investigation. It's just have to go to some process in our office, and it will be filed by first half of
And then we
October.
can talk about it here in the committee.
In totality, Your Honor.
In totality.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that, Attorney Harpon. I'll go to...
Madam Chair, if I may, just
Sen.
to
Joel.
continue with the AMLA's investigation. First of all, Madam Chair, at the onset, may I place on record how much we appreciate the work that AMLA's been doing. And kay attorney, kitang-kita naman na talagang gusto niyang mag-perform at masagot lahat ng tanong natin. Ang na-appreciate ko yung binanggit ni attorney na itong 87 counts na ito, kasi nababalita kasi na itong 87 counts ay nanggaling doon sa umaabot na 7 billion na kabuuang halaga nitong nakaraang Biyernes na final ng AMLA. Yun kasi naging report, attorney. Kaya I really think na maganda talaga itong nagyayari ngayong araw na ito dahil nakaklarify natin na hindi po yun yung basihan ng 87 counts. At yung 87 counts na yun, panimula pa lang, Madam Chair, kaya magandang maintindihan din ni Ms. Sheila, Madam Chair, yung sinasabi nyo sa 87 counts, 500 years na, panimula pa lang ito, Madam Chair. At money laundering pa lang yung pinag-uusapan po dito, Madam Chair. Ngayon, Madam Chair, let me ask our representative from AMLA, binanggit nyo po kanina parang since 2019 maaaring maaga pa nga dito yung possibility na nagaganap itong mga money laundering activities. Ang question ko lang, kailan nyo po nakita na di ba sa ating batas ng money laundering, Anti-Money Laundering Act, if I'm not mistaken, tayo, Senator Riza, we're together in the House when we passed this measure. Every time na merong kang 500,000 na transaksyon at nagiging ano nga tawag dun sa word hindi scandalous, suspicious transactions, inireport na po ito, no? Itong 500,000. So, ang question ko nga po, if nung narinig ko kanina yung 2019, probably even earlier, kailan natin nakita itong paggalaw ng hindi maayos na paggalaw ng salapi mula po dito sa mga kumpanyang ito?
Yes, Attorney.
Yes, Your Honor. We have received in 2019, and that is the only suspicious transaction report that we received from a certain covered person. The tenor of the report was that the person involved was not able to present documents to substantiate the transactions. So that is the only report that we have received until the news broke out on POGO, Your Honor. So
From 2019 until this 2024 na?
yes, Your Honor, that is the only suspicious transaction report that we have received. While we have received said report, and it's considered as suspicious, Your Honor, it did not really result to an investigation because we're at a bind because there is no predicate offense to connect it with. That is a usual suspicious transaction report that we receive. And if it's just on the ground that it's not commensurate, then we cannot go to court, Your Honors, because we have to link that to a predicate offense. But we are looking at the possible compliance issues of covered person because of possible failure to report STRs, Your Honor. Because as we have noted, Your Honor, the declared source of income is not commensurate. It's grossly disproportionate to the transactions had by the subjects, Your Honor.
Are there any possibility, for example, when you get these reports and you're saying na, yeah, it doesn't fall in the money laundering activities, pero suspicious na, etc., you can give it to any other government agencies to look into this? But can you imagine, Madam Chair, 2019 tapos 2024? I mean, in that span of time na nangyayari ito, wala po bang ganun na kapangyarihan o at least SOP on your part to give it to another government agency to push through with the investigation, sir?
Sir, the AMLAC is in close coordination with our law enforcement counterparts, PIDEA, NBI, PNP. And the reason for that is that because we need to establish the predicate offenses. And we have a mechanism to share information. So if we receive suspicious transaction, then we have a facility to share information. In fact, it's done, I cannot disclose how we do it, but it's done very fast, Your Honor.
So it means to say, Your Honor, that the police authorities are aware of this, na since 2019, meron ng ganitong information.
Might not be competent to address that.
Yeah, but I think it's obvious, Madam Chair, that they're aware because they're part of this. I just wanted to place on record, Madam Chair, yung complaint po ng AMLA, no? It states here, and I quote, Alice Guo and her cohorts intended to create layers and layers of corporations to make it appear that they were engaged in profitable and legitimate businesses. But in fact, they are not. So, itong statement na ito, parang klaro na sa inyo, well, took some time, and at the same time, let me point out, Madam Chair, that at this point in time, we remain in the gray list pagdating po dito sa mga huge transaction costs na experience ng ating OFWs and the multinationals. So, with that, Madam Chair, may I pose this question to AMLA? Perhaps the question is, what are we currently doing in the gray list of the Financial Action Task Force? Ano po yung actions that we can learn from this? What should we be doing to get us out of this? Because if I recall it right, Madam Chair, tayo na lang po yung ilan na lang po ba itong nasa gray list? Parang embarrassing na po na konting-konti na lang yung countries na nasa gray list. Pag nasa gray list po tayo, yung transaction cost ng ating mga OFWs, mga multinationals, lumalaki po. And because of this, yung every time may magpapadala ng salapi to and from the Philippines, nagkakaroon ng utmost scrutiny, Madam Chair. No? So, nagkakaroon ng delay din minsan in transferring the funds, hindi real time. So, ito lang yung concern natin, no? As we are talking about the efficiency of our AMLA, and at the same time, when it comes to legislation, meron ba kaming pwede pang gawin para makatulong po dito, Your Honor?
Briefly, please, Attorney Arpon, and then we'll return to Sen. Sherwin.
Your Honor, with respect to the Philippines being in the gray list, that is correct, Your Honor. And at present, there are only 3 action items left for the Philippines to address for us to escape the gray list. And we have addressed all of those 3, Your Honor. And we are very optimistic that we'll be able to get out of the gray list. As regards legislation, my pay grade might not be my pay grade.
No, that's a serious question, Attorney, kasi sa recommendations ng committee report, since this is in aid of legislation, in case meron na pong namumuong rekomendasyon na ang council.
I'll confer with the bosses first, Your Honor, and
Sige,
I'll get back to you.
But one last po, so who's monitoring your performance ng AMLA? The performance of AMLA in BSP or DOF?
No, we are BSP employees, but there is a separate law creating the Anti-Money Laundering Council, Your Honor.
Yes, and you submit reports to Congress quarterly, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
I'm sure we do submit reports, Your Honor.
To Congress?
Yes.
Is it quarterly?
Not aware, Your Honor.
Anyway, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator Win.
Salamat, Sen Joel. This is actually a very good case for AMLAC to lead removing our country from the gray list. Salamat, Sen Joel. Yes,
If I may,
you have the floor.
as regards to
Sen.
legislation,
Sure.
ma'am,
Yes,
you mentioned
Attorney.
perhaps if we can legislate that we don't have to establish it if it clearly appears that the money is from legitimate source, we can have it forfeited. We can file money laundering case, and then that will make our jobs a lot easier, Your Honor.
You mean if they're clearly from illegitimate sources?
Yes.
Okay po, we will take that under consideration na po for the recommendations ng committee report. And actually, nung sinabi nyo rin, before I turn back to Sen. Sherwin, na you had to establish pa predicate crimes, naisip ko na, well, at least that's another way the Senate has been useful, I believe. Kasi yung earlier investigations ng committees on labor, economic affairs, women, and now also the justice and human rights, I suppose has been useful din sa AMLAC to make your case about money laundering in the first place. Pero salamat dun sa rekomendasyon nyo about remedial legislation. Back to you, Sen. Sherwin.
Thank you. Thank you. Attorney Arpon, you said that dapat ma-prove muna yung predicate crime. Ibig sabihin may krimen muna. Yung pera nanggaling sa krimen, di ba?
Yes, Your Honor. We have to establish the existence of a predicate offense, but it is not a requirement under the law that there must be a case, much less a conviction on the predicate offense, Your Honor, because money laundering is independent. But what we do have to establish is that there is a predicate offense and that the money that we are investigating is the proceeds of the predicate offense, Your Honor.
Itong pagpasok ng pera na suspicious and unjustifiable, hindi ba red flag na ito?
It is a red flag, Your Honor. It is a suspicious transaction.
Oo, suspicious transaction na siya, red flag na siya, pero umabot pa ng 4 na taon. Tsaka tuloy-tuloy siya, di ba? From 2019, pinakita nga namin, from 2019, 2020, 2020, tuloy-tuloy siya.
Yes, Your Honor.
You might not, hindi nyo siguro na-establish yung predicate offense, pero definitely unjustifiable yung pagpasok ng pera dito. Lalo na, hindi siya tugma doon sa negosyo at kita nila Alice Guo.
Well, Your Honor, the tenor of the report was that the contracting party was not able to present the document. Allegedly, it was about sale of land, but Your Honor, the transactions themselves would raise red flags already, Your Honor, because it's not commensurate with the declared source of income, basing it on the capital, Your Honor. And
that's why ang question is, lumabas lang to during the hearings when our chairperson conducted the hearings. Kung hindi pa ito lumabas sa hearings, then there's no investigation that will happen. So tuloy-tuloy lang pumapasok yung pera na hindi na-imbestigahan dahil yung sources hindi nagtutugma doon sa kanilang kita. Hindi ba dapat pag pumasok, for example, millions pumapasok every month. Alam ko, hindi mo masabi, but every month pumapasok siya millions in cash. Hindi ba dapat imbestigahan na natin kaagad to? Bakit umabot pa ng 4-5 taon bago, at dahil nga sa investigation, kaya tinignan natin to?
Your Honor, the report is a subject of intelligence information, Your Honor. But if we go to investigation, Your Honor, we can't really proceed in the absence of a predicate offense, which at that time was not yet established, Your Honor.
Correct.
It's just part of
but
the
you also
intelligence.
said there's only one suspicious transaction reported?
Yes, Your Honor.
In
Until
the
the
span
news
of
broke out.
5 years?
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct.
And but 6.1 billion came in? So ibig sabihin, puro 500,000 lang deposit nila?
It can be more than 500,000.
Correct. So
but it
pag
was-
more than 500, is suspicious, di ba?
it's a covered transaction
Covered
report.
kailan siya magiging suspicious?
There are certain parameters under the law to be considered as suspicious. There is no underlying legal or trade obligation or economic justification.
Correct.
There
So,
is structuring.
so Alice Guo, palabas nga, yung Alice Guo companies, they're not making money. Di ba? Alice Guo herself, wala siyang income na pinagkukunan. Di ba? And yet, nagde-deposit sa QJJ Farm, sa QJJ Embroidery, o personal, millions. Hindi ba suspicious yun?
It should have been reported by covered persons as suspicious transaction.
Correct. How
Your
come
Honor.
it was not reported?
Your Honor, our office is looking into the compliance issue of this case by
Who are
covered
these
persons.
covered persons?
Banks, Your Honor.
The banks. So dapat rini-report to ng mga bangko, di ba? I'll show the Carla, yung financial statement ng farm. Well, anyways, so dapat rini-report ng bangko to. Di ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
Kasi pag nag-deposit ka ng 10 million, sasabihin ng, ito, I'll show you. Hindi, that's 2008 onwards. So pag nag-deposit siya sa bangko, sasabihin niya saan galing yung pera, sasabihin niya dividendo, how can they have dividendo kung ang kanilang mga corporations hindi naman kumikita? I'll show you. Yeah, for example, ito, ang kanilang stockholders' equity is only 1.6 million. Diba? Assets niya 1.6 million lang. Diba? So kung may pumapasok na millions of cash, dapat nagre-reflect sa cash balance. Correct? So, ang punto lang namin, ang punto namin, Senator Joe, bakit umabot pa ng 4 years, 5 years, bago na imbestigahan? No, that's the point.
To be candid, it was only when the news broke out, Your
Correct.
Honor, on this
Correct.
POGO.
That's the point here. Kung hindi pa na raid o hindi pa na tuloy-tuloy lang yung pagpasok ng pera. So, and the bank should have reported that these are suspicious transactions because the financial statements don't reflect the proceeds. Tama?
It is not justified by the
Correct.
declared, yes.
It's not justified.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, by that alone, my question is, bakit nga umabot ng ganong kahaba pa?
Your Honor, well, with respect to the suspicious transaction report filed way back in 2019, Your Honor, there is no predicate offense mentioned in the report. So it only formed part of our intelligence information, our database. But to be frank, Your Honor, we cannot proceed with the
So, ibig
filing
sabihin,
of case.
walang nagre-report ng suspicious transaction?
There was only one, Your
Oo nga,
Honor.
but
Yes.
along the way, walang nagre-report? Walang bangko nagre-report?
None, Your Honor.
So, possible ba na kasama rin yung mga bangko sa kanilang illegal operation? May cover up?
What we're looking into our office, that is, Your Honor, is the compliance of covered persons, Your Honor.
Like for example, this one, QJJ Farm. Ang kanyang revenue is only 12 million. Ang kanyang net income is lugi. Diba? But alam ko, pumasok dyan millions. Tama?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, so how can that be? Hindi millions ang pumasok dito, billions. Tama?
Hundreds of millions, yes, Your Honor.
Hundreds of millions ang pumasok. So pumasok sa account niya hundreds of millions, income statement niya lugi. Dapat nagtanong yung bangko saan galing yung kita. Correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So kung may compliance report, that means kung may compliance issue, that means the banks are not complying.
That is something that our office is looking into right now, Your Honor.
Okay. And when do we get that report? Because I plan to also file a resolution to investigate itong compliance issue. Because if the banks will not comply, obviously this will just go on and go on. Diba?
I'll confer with the bosses, Your Honor, and we'll submit a report to this honorable committee, Your Honor.
Okay. Will that form part of that investigation that you are conducting, that compliance report?
There's a separate group in our office, Your Honor, handling compliance issues by uncovered persons, Your Honor.
Okay. And then when can we have that report on compliance?
Your Honor, as regards the investigation on the compliance aspect, Your Honor, we'll submit a report to this office, Your Honor, on when, or the report itself, or when we can submit.
Can
said
we
report.
have that when? October? Second week of October again?
We'll apprise this honorable committee, Your Honor, by tomorrow, Your Honor.
Sige, just give us a timetable because that's the point of Senator Joel. And we're making a point that if the banks complied, then this will be nip in the bud. No? Maaga natin madidetect to eh. Pero hindi nga nagko-comply kaya umabot ng ganito kahaba. Diba? And that's why I want to actually connect that to the amount that is coming in, no? Which you cannot disclose for now because the investigation is still ongoing. And we respect that. No, we respect that. So, but that's the point we're making. No? I hope that AMLAC takes note of that and in the next hearings, especially after October 2, hingi kami ng disclosure on those amounts. No?
Madam Chair, no, may I just place into the records?
Yes, Sen. Joel, before we go back to Sen.
I'm
JV with
looking at
Pao.
the Anti-Money Laundering Act, IRR. Among the suspicious transactions listed under this law, sa IRR po nakalagay, taking into account all known circumstances. It may be perceived that the client's transaction is structured in order to avoid being the subject of reporting requirements under the Act. Kaya klaro nga po, yung binabanggit natin ni Senator Win, ang tagal nang nangyari, pero it took some time bago natin ma-realize na may kalokohang nangyayari. Kung ang aasahan lang po natin ay may magre-report, Madam Chair, wala na pong mangyayari sa atin. Kung ang NBI, ang DOJ, ang BI, etc., aasa na lang sa report na babanggitin dito sa Senado, wala po. Magiging baliwala po yung ginagawa nila. And that's why, Madam Chair, I'm pounding on the performance of AMLA because it's unacceptable for the Filipino people to say na, ito nga, 2019 may nag-report na, but there was no follow-up. Ito nga, suspicious na yung mga transactions nito mga kumpanya na ito. Ang liliit ng kita pero billion-billion isang lugar lang papatayuan ng mga buildings. Madam Chair, nung hinuli si Alice Guo, kitang-kita. Kami ni Senator Sherwin and Senator JV nag-uusap. Pinignan ho namin lahat ng news. CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera at kung ano-ano pang lahat, no? Nandun lahat. So tinitingnan po tayo ng buong international community at babanggitin ko ulit, tayo ay patuloy na nandoon sa gray list kung hindi po natin ito ma-address at ipakita rin sa mundo that we are dead serious in addressing this particular issue, hindi ho maganda sa imahe natin at lalo na dun sa tinatamaan dito sa mga gray list na ito. Salamat, Madam Chair.
Salamat, Sen. Joel. So very well taken yung recommendation ng AMLAC to look at amending the law para hindi na kailangan may predicate crime pa na mapatunayan bago matreat ng AMLAC na kumbaga actionable information or intelligence ang isang pag-red flag ng isang covered or suspicious transaction. So at this, yes, Sen. Sherwin, before, oh, I'm sorry, you're continuing. Oh, I'm so sorry, I thought you were, all right, please continue, Sen. Sherwin.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I'll jump to another topic, and this concerns the Guo family. So gusto ko magtanong kay Sheila. May mga simpleng at basic na tanong lang ako para lang malaman namin kung ano ang naging dahilan kung bakit pumunta dito ang Guo family. At paano sila napasok sa mga iba't ibang negosyo. So, unahin ko kung anong year ka pumunta, anong year ka dumating dito sa Pilipinas?
2001 ata.
2001. Sino kasama mo at that time?
Ako lang po.
Ikaw lang mag-isa. At nasabi mo during the last hearing natin na pinapunta ka dito para magtrabaho kay Guo Jiangjong. No?
Kay Daddy.
Tawag mo Daddy pero hindi siya
Tunay na tatay.
hindi mo biological father, no? Hindi tunay na tatay. And sino si Lin Wenyi?
Tita ko po.
Asawa ba siya ni Guo Jiang Jong?
Partner niya.
Ha?
Partner.
Partner. Okay. And si Li Wenyi, nanay ni Alice Guo.
Ang alam ko ang nanay ni Wesley.
Nanay ni Wesley. Si Lin Wenyi.
Opo.
Sino ang nanay ni Alice Guo?
Sabi ni Daddy, isang Pilipino pero hindi ko kilala.
Sabi niya, isang Pilipino, huwag ka magsisinungaling ha. Dahil meron kaming mga records.
Oh, hindi po.
Ah,
Sabi kasi ni Daddy eh.
sinabi ni Daddy na ang nanay niya ay Pilipino. Okay?
Na isang Pilipino.
Na isang
Sabi ko,
Pilipino.
tanungin
Sino
ko
yun?
kung
Sino yung Pilipino na
Oh,
yun?
yun ang tanong ko. Sabi niya, wala na.
Anong wala
Dati
na?
pa. Maliit pa lang siya, wala na.
Wala na.
Mm.
So, sino ang, si Lin Wenyi, ang anak niya si Wesley.
Opo.
Ilan ang anak ni Lin Wenyi?
Laluwat, tatlo, yung isa nawala sa tiyan niya.
Tatlo, isa nawala sa tiyan niya. Yung isa si Wesley. Yung isa,
Kuya niya.
kuya
si
niya.
Simon, oh.
Si Semen. Nasaan si Semen?
Siguro nasa China po ngayon.
Nasa China siya ngayon.
Siguro po.
Okay. And si Semen is Filipino or Chinese?
Chinese po.
Chinese citizen siya. Si Wesley, Filipino or Chinese?
Filipino.
Filipino siya. Pero alam rin namin na hindi totoo yun.
Opo,
I'm sure alam mo na yun.
may Chinese passport ang ano niyo po. Pero alam,
Si Wesley ba ngayon may Chinese passport?
hindi ko nakita, hindi ko sure.
Hindi mo sure.
Mm.
Okay. Nung pumunta ka dito, you were, narinig ko during the last hearing, 16 years old ka, 17 years old?
Mga ganyan po.
Oo. Saan ka nag-aral dito?
Wala po.
Hindi ka na nag-aral?
Hindi
ka
po.
na pumasok?
Hindi po.
Nag-aral ka ba sa China?
Opo.
Anong school?
Pwede po hindi ako sagot.
Hindi naman, sa China naman yun.
May
Kahit
kaso
sabihin
na po
mo,
ako kasi ito eh.
Hindi, school lang naman yun eh. Nasa China naman yun. Kahit sabihin mo, nasa China naman yun. Pero nag-aral ka doon ng elementary.
Hanggang high school po.
Hanggang high school. College?
Hindi po.
Hindi ka nag-aral ng college. Okay. Si Alice, saan nag-aral?
Hindi ko po alam.
Hindi mo alam saan nag-aaral si Alice?
Hindi po.
Nag-aral ba siya?
Hindi ko sure kasi ang alam ko meron siya homeschool. Kung baka sa bahay yata.
Alam namin, meron din kaming ebidensya, hindi siya homeschool.
Hindi ko po alam.
Kaya huwag kang magsisinungaling.
Hindi ko po alam, sir.
Alam namin lahat, meron kaming dokumento. Huwag magsisinungaling. Huwag kang susunod sa kwento ni Alice kasi alam namin may mga dokumento kami dito. So ang tanong ko, nag-aral ba siya o hindi?
Hindi ko po alam.
Ngayon hindi mo na alam.
Hindi ko po
Nag-homeschool
sure.
siya o hindi?
Hindi ko sure pero ang alam ko may homeschool siya. Pero hindi ko nakita.
Hindi mo,
Kasi 16, nandito ako, malaki na siya eh.
pero tawag mo sa kanya ate, di ba?
Siya,
Tawag
hindi
mo sa-
ako ang ate po.
Tawag niya sa iyo ate, no? Anong tawag mo sa kanya?
Alice po.
Alice, hindi Shobe or
Hindi po.
Hindi ganoon. Okay. All right. And then itong si Guo Jiangjong. Si Guo Jiangjong nung pumunta dito, ano ang negosyo niya?
Ang pupunta ako dito, meron na sila embroidery tsaka farm.
Embroidery and farm.
Opo.
Nasaan yung embroidery and farm?
Yung una lating ko nasa Manitawag.
Nasa Balintawak.
Opo.
In farm,
Nasa Tarlac. Bamban po.
nasa Tarlac. At
Bamban
ikaw,
po.
saan ka nagtrabaho? Sa Balintawak.
Opo.
Sa Balintawak ka nagtrabaho.
Sa embroidery po.
Okay. And then, anong negosyo nila sa China?
Ang alam ko, meron din embroidery sa China.
Mayroon rin siyang embroidery sa China.
Mm-mm.
Meron rin siyang farming sa China?
Ano?
Meron ba siyang farm sa China?
Wala po.
Wala.
Ang alam ko, wala.
So, embroidery lang ang negosyo niya.
Embroidery tsaka tela.
Nasaan na ngayon si Guo Jiangjong?
Baka sa China, hindi ko sure.
Nasa China siya ngayon?
Siguro po.
Hindi ba kayo nagkita sa Singapore?
Kita.
Nagkita kayo sa Singapore. Si Lin Wen Yi, nagkita kayo sa Singapore?
Opo.
Yung ba yung time na nagkita-kita kayo doon? I think that was July 18, tama ba? No? Nag-reunion kayo sa Singapore?
Opo.
Then after that, saan sila pumunta?
Uwi na sila sabi, pero hindi ko alam kung saan sila uwi.
Naghiwalay-hiwalay na kayo?
Opo.
Okay. Ano ang negosyo ni, aside from embroidery, may iba pa siyang negosyo sa China?
Wala siguro. Hindi ko sure.
Connected ba siya sa Chinese government, si Guo Jiangjong?
Hindi ko alam. Hindi siguro po.
Hindi mo alam. Connected ba siya sa Chinese Communist Party sa China?
Hindi ko maintindihan po.
Konektado ba siya sa Chinese Communist Party? Chinese Communist Party? Konektado ba siya doon?
Ano po yung Chinese na
'Di ba sa China may party, 'di ba? Yung Communist Party.
party?
Oo.
May kaibigan siya. Hindi ko alam kung anong klaseng party ang sabi niyo po.
Pero konektado ba siya doon sa Communist Party
Hindi ko
ng
alam.
China? Nung pumunta ka dito, nagtrabaho ka sa embroidery, and then sinasabi mo may farm. Diba? At nakita rin namin na si Alice pumasok sa maraming negosyo. Diba? Saan niya nakuha yung pera niya?
Sa business siguro po.
Sa business, anong business yung pinagkukuha? Narinig mo naman kanina, no? Maraming pumapasok na pera sa kanya. Nakita rin namin, nakabili siya ng helicopter. Yung kanyang salin, 200 million. No? So, nanggaling siya sa China. Diba? Embroidery negosyo niya, pero hindi namin makita sa financial statements. Yung kita, pinakita kanina, lugi pa nga yung farm. So, saan niya nakuha yung pera niya?
Hindi ko po alam.
Hindi mo alam kung saan niya nakuha yung pera.
Hindi ko po
Pero
alam.
pinakita ko rin last time sa iyo na treasurer ka ng kumpanya. No? At CFO ka ng kumpanya. At meron ding corporate secretary ka ng kumpanya. So, ibig sabihin, yung position mo sa mga kumpanya matataas.
Hindi ko alam.
Nasabi ba sa'yo ni Alice saan niya kinukuha yung pera niya?
Hindi po. Hindi ko alam po.
Hindi mo alam kung saan niya kinukuha. Pinapaperma ka lang ng mga dokumento.
Opo.
Okay. Ba't ka naman pumiperma pag hindi mo alam?
May tanong kasi ako. Ang sabi niya use lang sa business. Business.
Yun lang
Yun lang
sinasabi
po.
niya. Okay. And then kanina, natanong rin ng ating chairperson na meron kang aqua farm sa Suwal.